When I first started, I thought the meal planning involved making a Pinterest board, making a really exhaustive grocery list, and even doing a meal prep marathon every single weekend. And frankly, that is not sustainable, and that is not something that I can continue doing. So I simplified everything because you've got to cut out the barriers. I make it to where it just takes me a few minutes to do some meal planning. My grocery shopping is quick. I get it all done in one day. And I'm not stuck in the kitchen all day, every single night, preparing a healthy home-cooked meal. Side note, I got a comment from one of my viewers about the quilts in the background. This quilt is the first quilt that I made. I don't think I'm gonna make any more quilts because it was a lot of work, but I wanted to point that out in case that viewer is watching today. Let's start with why traditional meal planning, or at least the way that we see it on social media, can feel overwhelming. First of all, some of y'all are picking some really complicated recipes for almost every single meal of the night that leads to a really long grocery list. It doesn't actually save any money because you're buying random seasonings or you're buying things that you'll probably never buy again. And it leads to extra time in the kitchen because you've never cooked that recipe before, and so you're having to learn how to cook this brand new recipe. Another reason is you could be believing that you need to prep every single meal in advance. This is the part where you need to be looking at the types of meals that you are planning for and seeing if those can be more slow cooker meals or meals that you don't have to do any prep work for. Because if you're spending every single night prepping to make your dinner, you're going to lead to burnout, and it's going to lead to wasted food because, let's be honest, there's going to be 2 or 3 nights that you're like, I can't even do it. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of being in that kitchen. And another thing is you are not building flexibility into your meal plans. When I first started, it was Sunday night, Tuesday night is this, Wednesday night is this, and I could not deviate from the plan. So if someone invited us somewhere for dinner on Thursday, then the whole plan is messed up. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Or maybe I was late getting home from work. That messes up the whole plan, and now we're eating at 8 p.m. at night. You need to be prepared for life, because life happens. And if you have a very rigid plan, it's going to fall apart. So here is the simple meal planning method that works for me and my family. Before I even start with anything, I always write out what my scheduling is. So say we are serving at church on that Sunday, I need to plan a meal that doesn't require any thawing of meat because I forgot to pull it out Saturday before. That doesn't require a slow cooker meal because we're going to be up early getting ready for church and I'm inevitably going to forget to put things in the slow cooker. Or require a lot of prep, a lot of cooking. I'm going to be exhausted that day. So I know that if I'm serving on a Sunday, it needs to be a very simple grilled cheese dinner or maybe nachos, something that is simple. We will still eat it. We will still love it. Throw a frozen pizza in the oven. I'm not doing any work that day for dinner. If you've got little kids and you're doing a bunch of soccer or you're doing after school practice, there are moms that put together the slow cooker in the morning and then they take the entire slow cooker with them to the practice. They take their disposable bowls, their spoons or forks, and that's what the kids eat for dinner. They eat out of the trunk of the car, then they go play, or maybe they went and played first and then they eat out of the trunk of the car and then they go home and get ready and go to bed. That way you are not worrying about either making a ton of sandwiches, because let's be honest, sandwiches are really not that fast of a meal. There's a lot of prep work that goes into making a sandwich. Or you're not worried about picking up fast food on the way home and spending even more money. So before I look at any meals, I look at any cravings I've had for the week, I always check my calendar. This one you've probably already heard before, but it is start with what you have. Check your freezer, check your pantry, check your fridge, plan your meals around what's already available. Now a caveat to this, check your vegetables. If you've got some produce that may be expiring soon, like say you have 2 heads of romaine lettuce, let's make a salad tomorrow night or tonight. Say you have some potatoes that are looking a little bit close to the edge, it might be time to make a potato soup, especially if there's a bunch of them because you accidentally bought a huge bulk size bag and you didn't have any plan for them. So always check your expiring items first, and then go for your meats, your freezers, maybe your pastas and grains. That's gonna help you come up with some really good recipes for the next week, and you may even start brainstorming them in your head as you're looking through your items. We wanna plan our meals around what's already available so that we can take advantage with the extra savings from that grocery run, we can take advantage of any deals that might be happening this week. So if you have a really good sale on chicken or sale on ground beef, you can take advantage of that. You can buy more than what you need for the week and you can have more for next week. Another one is if you're first starting, you may want to stick with simple rotating meals. The best way I can relate this is if you've ever worked at a summer camp. Every single week is the exact same meal. Monday nights are this, Tuesday nights are this. So for example, Sunday night, we always had Salisbury steak and potatoes and a roll and green beans. That was Sunday night. I knew exactly what we were all eating Sunday night. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, everything's the same. Now, obviously that is going to get very boring for you and your family, but you can adjust it a little bit. So instead of Sunday night is the specific meal, it can be Sunday slow cookers. So you always have a slow cooker meal. And maybe if you're better than I am about making sure the slow cooker is prepped before you leave for church, maybe it's Taco Tuesday, but instead of tacos every single week, it's like quesadillas or burritos, like anything Mexican inspired. So if that is easier for your brain to think through that, then you can try to go with a rotating meal system. When I tried doing that, it was great, but then it didn't really offer very much flexibility, but I still kind of go along those lines, and I do like trying new recipes. So for example, I had Wednesday nights were new recipe nights. You can also look at your seasonal meals in this instance. So for example, for us, it's summer right now. Our current favorites are a turkey lasagna soup, different types of salads like a BLT salad, maybe a tuna melt, things that will work with our garden, for instance. So the lasagna soup goes with the zucchini in our garden. The BLT salad uses the cherry tomatoes from our garden. Cherry tomatoes are in season right now, so I can use that more because those vegetables are either from our garden or they are in the store on a good deep discount. Obviously, it's going to take you some time to build up what your seasonal family favorites are, but just keep a list of them in your notes app so that the next year you come around on that season, you're not trying to rack your brain figuring out, okay, it's really hot outside. Maybe I don't need to do chili tonight. Although my family will go for some chili, especially if it's like a Frito pie or if it's on some fries. Look, all I'm saying is meal planning does not have to be healthy. Now, say you've got all your meals written out. You've looked at your calendar, you've looked at your pantry, you have all your meals written out. Now is the time to go back over your meal plan, and you need to double check what things need to be prepped before that meal. So for example, we have a pot pie meal coming up. It's a whole lot easier if I can make the pie crust now instead of the day of, or if I can have the chicken already cooked instead of having to cook it the day of and assemble it. If you make your own bread and you wanted to have a grilled cheese on a Sunday, you need to make sure that you are going to either bake the sourdough bread on Saturday or you're going to bake it on Friday. So say you're not great at doing Saturday cooking, then you want to make sure you do it on Friday. And I typically leave my meal plan up on the refrigerator, and next to the date of the meal plan, I will write what I need to do. Do I need to soak the beans overnight? Do I need to make the bread here? Do I need to pull the meat from the freezer so it can defrost overnight and the next day be ready? Literally taking 1 minute, 2 minutes to write those things out is going to help you tremendously, especially when you get into the routine of looking at your fridge to see what's coming up. And chances are you will already be looking at your fridge because you're going to be like, oh, what's on the meal plan for tonight? Over time, you're going to get better at meal planning. You're going to start thinking ahead. So say you had a pulled pork taco night and you slow cooked the pork all day. That's great. The next day or 2 days after that, you can take that same pulled pork and you can make it into a barbecue seasoning and put it on hamburger buns. And then maybe the next day you can make it into nachos. You can do so many things with your leftover meat, especially if you've meal planned for it. Don't put yourself down if you've forgotten, or maybe you have too many leftovers the first few times you do it. I definitely had a ton of leftovers the first 3 months that I started meal planning. You're not going to be perfect the first time, and that's okay. Our goal is to learn this new skill and perfect it and hone it so that this time next year, we're going to be saving money because we have learned a completely new skill. We know how to meal plan. We can do it like the back of our hand. That was not the right phrase, but we can do it so easily. It just takes us a few minutes to do the whole meal plan and then we go shopping. This also gives you a chance to learn yourself. So for example, I mentioned that I don't like cooking on the weekends. I don't like cooking on Saturday or Sunday. I find that I'm usually burnt out from all the cooking the whole week. Saturday and Sunday, I don't feel like it. So that is usually the day. My husband loves cooking, so he'll get up. Maybe he wants to do a big extravagant breakfast. So that's when I plan to have several things in the refrigerator that can accommodate whatever breakfast he decides to do that day. So if it's like hash browns or French toast, he can do that. But because of that, I know myself. I know that I don't even want to walk into the kitchen and look at the list. So if there's something that is going to need to be thawed for Saturday or Sunday night's dinner, it's not going to get thawed. That being said, I now plan ahead. And Saturdays and Sundays are either easy meals that my husband can do like the back of his hand, so hamburgers, hot dogs, etc. I will even sometimes opt to purchase the hamburger buns instead of having to make them Friday or Saturday the day before. Or they are meals that do not require any thawing. Maybe it's nachos with leftover meat. Maybe it's quesadillas. Maybe it's grilled cheese with our sourdough bread or baked potatoes. They're so easy to just throw those in the oven. So weekend nights for us and our family, easy, no prep or little prep as possible dinners. The best meal planning system is going to be the one that works for you and your family, not the one that I say, not the one that the next influencer says. Take all this wisdom and gather it with a grain of salt. You're not going to be perfect the first time. I want you to give yourself grace and to keep it flexible. So when I'm meal planning, I make sure there are several meals that are no thaw meals or very easy, very flexible, because if life gets busy, I can swap some things around if I need to. This last weekend, I completely forgot that we needed to bring a side to our small group. And I had planned for baked potatoes like 2 days later. So what did I do? We switched over the baked potatoes to that night and we had baked potatoes that we brought. Plan for your leftovers. The simple put together meals, they all need to be part of the plan. It doesn't need to be the, oh, I don't want to cook tonight. What can I do with all these leftovers? Or I still have meals planned for the rest of the week, but I still have a bunch of leftovers. We incorporate our leftovers for the next day's lunch. So we just reheat them for the lunch the next day. And if I know it's going to be a lot of leftovers, say it's a big pot of taco soup or it's a giant pork butt roast, I'm remembering how much it made last time, so I can think we're probably going to have enough leftovers for 2 to 3 meals later. So I need to make sure that they get either incorporated into those 2 to 3 meals or I freeze the leftovers. Meal planning does not have to be complicated. Start with what you have. Keep the meals simple. Don't jump into brand new recipes right away. Prep just your essentials if you feel like you really have to prep. And keep it flexible. That's going to make your life so much easier. That is my tip for you, but I wanted to show this to you in action as the typical former high school teacher that I am. We're going to plan my meal plan for tomorrow. I do not have a fancy meal planning binder. I just use a notebook, and it's the same notebook that I do all my brain dumps on, that I do my to-do list on. I'm almost done with this notebook. And in toddler mom fashion, this one's already stained, so you know. All right, tomorrow is Wednesday, so I'm going to start out with the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm gonna go from Wednesday to Wednesday. So here's what it looks like. I have Wednesday all the way down through the next Thursday, just in case I want to add in an extra meal. I typically do my entire meal plan on this side and my store plan, my grocery list on this side, because I'm just gonna cut this separately, but I do like having them both on the same page so I'm not flipping through all the pages. Remember, my first step is going through my calendar. So I'm gonna go grab my phone and go through my calendar. So in this instance, I have that we're driving to my mother's house on Thursday, that we have a game night on Saturday. Then Sunday we're serving. It's a long day at church, but we're also doing small group that night. So I don't need to make a whole dinner, but I do need to make sure I bring a side of sorts because we're all kind of doing a potluck for this small group. And then I'm glad I wrote in Thursday because I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday. So that means that we're going to be out and about for most of the day, but then we are going to come back home and I'll probably just be tired. I won't want to do any cooking. But I know that on days like this, I cannot be prepping things. So I can't be making a pie crust. I can't be probably doing a slow cooker because I might forget to do the slow cooker. And by the time we get home, it will be too late to do the slow cooker. That being said, we might even start swim lessons next week. I want to make sure that most of our meals are very simple, very easy to attain. So I still have a few meals left over from this last week. This kind of is how my meal plan looks. I'm actually going to take the 2 meals that I have left over and file them in. So tonight we do have a lot of leftovers. We still have the pulled pork. So I'm going to try to do something with our leftovers for tonight. Tomorrow will be our turkey lasagna soup, which is a very easy meal that we've done multiple times. I'm also going to do a chicken pot pie on the day that we're driving to my mother's house because it's like a 2-hour drive and then we're going to come 2 hours back. I'm going to be exhausted. I just want to put the pie in the oven at that point, which means today would be a good day to pull the ground turkey. So I wrote pulled turkey and prep pies because I need to make the pot pies. I've been kind of avoiding it. I still don't have anything for these days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my meal plans from the last few weeks and look through them. So I did a little staple situation where I folded up a page and this is just like a folder. Now I'm not going to put you guys through an entire meal planning list because frankly, I think this video is already getting too long. But some of the other things I look at, not only do I look at the last few months at this point of meal plans, and some of these are front and back, but I also look at any store circulars that are popping up. So for example, tomorrow, the store circular is going to refresh. So all of the sales happen on Wednesday for us in my location. So I'm going to go through and compare what meats are on sale, if there's something that I can stock up on, if there's any vegetable that's going for super low price, or looks like our Kroger is doing a buy one get one for 1 cent on cheeses. So if I've been putting off different meals that include a lot of cheese, like nachos and quesadillas, I know I've said that multiple times. Those are the only things that are coming through my brain at the moment, but I can stock up on that stuff for tomorrow. If you have any meal planning questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, I think we should start a little conversation. So we're going to continue the conversation in the comments. Please share with me what your favorite family meal is. It's the meal that you could feed your family. They would just love it. It's 5 stars. I need to go back for seconds every single time. For us, it's 2 different meals. It's the turkey lasagna soup. That recipe is from Meal Lime, and you can actually find it for free online. It's pretty healthy, and my kids always ask for seconds, sometimes thirds. And then it's a taco soup. It's just our family recipe of taco soup, and we usually have a side of tortilla chips and cheese and sometimes sour cream to make it a little bit cooler for the kids because the kids, it's always so hot for them. They want to eat it as soon as it's done. So leave a comment below. What is it that your family just loves? You could feed it to them every week and they would be happy as a clam. And don't forget, we are striving for progress, not perfection. So if this is brand new to you, you are learning a completely new skill. You are learning how to read a different language of sorts. You're learning different sales and prices, and even how to efficiently shop without spending too much. I feel like that was a lot of work and now I gotta go meal plan. So see you guys later.